All right. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Town of Dewey Beach Finance Committee meeting as the new merger between the Investment and the Budget and Finance Committee. It's being held at the Dewey Beach Life Saving Station at 1 Dagsworthy Avenue in Dewey Beach, and also streamed via Zoom. It's Thursday, July 11th, 2024, and it's 5 p.m. With that, I'm going to convene the Finance Committee meeting with the opening ceremonies, starting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Next is the roll call. So if I read your name, please let me know if you're present. And I apologize if I screw up any name. So I'll start with Manny Bermau.
Present. Present.
Iris Curtis.
Iris is on mute.
I see you, Iris. Suzanne Evans.
Present.
John Gephardt. Bernie Kraus.
Here.
Eric Nelson.
Present.
Dominic Prestipino. I tried
Here.
to go too fast. Sorry about that. James Brzezowski. We know he's not here. Michael Schaefer.
Present.
And Dennis Trencher.
Present.
All right. It's 8 to 10, so we have a quorum to move forward with the meeting. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Motion by Bernie. Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any. The adoption of the agenda passed. Can I have a motion for the approval of the January 18th, 2024 Budget and Finance meetings, as well as the April 11th, 2024 investment meeting minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Not hearing any. It passes. Anyone here for public comment? No one standing up in the room?
No one in the room.
What about online? It's all committee members? Okay. First action item to discuss, possibly vote to appoint a committee chairperson. One of the things that we realized as we were going through from a charter and code perspective is that after the committees has been formed, in this sense, it's a merged committee between the two of them, it is up to the committee members to appoint a chair and to nominate a chair. So I'll first ask, are there any committee members that are interested in being the chair of the Finance Committee? I just saw everyone get, wait, hold on. It's like almost.
Everybody's backing up at once.
Yeah, right.
Does anybody have a big deep background in finance? That would be the preference, somebody that,
Well, if you've controlled a budget, or if you understand a budget, you understand a P&L, and you've run meetings before, that's really, I mean, if I can do it, anybody can do it. No one present? No.
I'm thinking about it, but I need to know more.
All right. Does anyone want to throw their name in? Going once?
Suzanne said she would think about
Does
it.
everyone think about
I'm
it?
thinking about it, but I need to know more.
Okay.
who do we have missing is
Zeke and John.
John Gephardt.
John Gephardt.
Yeah.
I think John has a background in finance. Let me double check that.
Okay.
So John and Suzanne can discuss with you.
Right.
All right, so without anybody coming forward or without a nomination yet, I've got a message that just came through, so. Iris sent me a text saying she's having trouble getting through in the meeting.
I have hers in the room. She has her camera off and she's muted.
Could you see if you can get her unmuted?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There you go.
Hey, Iris.
Hi, Iris.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. It's like it won't do my camera, and I dialed it on my phone, so whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. Hopefully, you can imagine what I look like. How about that?
I know Iris has a background.
Are you unmuting because you would like to serve as the chair of the committee? She's muted.
Well, I could,
Muted herself.
Iris, nothing like putting you on the spot.
no, I know. Well, I mean, I would be willing to give it a shot if there's nobody else that is interested. I'm new to the committee, but certainly not new to this type of activity. So
Okay, would we be able to make her an interim chair to go, let her give it a shot at the next meeting to see if it's something that she wants to do?
The next meeting, we would just do a vote to make her chairman pro tem, so that she would serve as temporary chair just for that meeting.
Or based upon the agenda, to have somebody make a motion to vote her as the chair and see if the rest of the committee,
Yes, you could ask for the motion.
I don't believe in waiting, but Suzanne, you also said you are interested, or? Does any,
Go with her.
Fast.
Well, I'm new here.
Right.
But I've been a treasurer for 20 years, and I think I could, do this. But I need to know,
what it means? I'm gonna ask that we table it so that we can have conversations about what it really entails and whether or not you want to do it, and then we can do it in
That
the
sounds
October
good.
meeting because of what it's gonna require. Is that good?
good.
All right, Iris, you okay with that?
no, that would be perfect because I think that's a great plan.
Okay. In line with that, 'cause usually the secretary is discussed after the chairperson is named,
Correct.
then I think it makes, can I have a motion to table the appointment of a committee chair?
Motion?
And a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Knowing that the secretary position also is one that requires a little bit of work and maybe more explanatory,
I'll do that.
you got it. So can I have a motion to make, good, can I have a motion to appoint Bernie Kraus as the committee secretary?
I make a motion.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that passes unanimously. Number 3, presentation discussion by town manager regarding financial needs and budget status. Mr. Zolper.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to thank the Finance, Budget, and the Investment Committee to come together and form one committee. Thank you so much and for your time. The first 90 days of this fiscal year look pretty good. Sheena's done a very nice job with the budget this year and putting the numbers together. I'll just throw a couple different things out to you. Transfer tax, we thought we would be at about 100,000 right now coming in. We're at about 260,000 coming in right now, so we're about 160 over that. So in the other revenues that are coming in, we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good in most of them. On our expenditures, we thought we'd be spending about 1.2 by now, or 1.3 by now. We've only spent really 1.2, so we're doing good there also. Our infrastructure committee, we have about $650,000 in that account right now. And our big project, of course, is the new town hall, police station, and paramedics department. So, we got a grant for $3 million 2 years ago for that. We did another grant this past year with the state, got another $1 million, so that puts us at $4 million from the state. The town's going to commit $2.3 million as of right now. It could be a little more. Then the county's going to commit $1 million to us. So that brings us up to $7.3 million for our project. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll get it out to bid, and then we'll find out exactly how much we're going to need for the project. And again, I'd like to thank Sheena for putting the budget together and getting us these numbers. The financials will be posted tomorrow on the town webpage, correct, Kate? Mm-hmm. So anybody that's interested in seeing the financials, our revenues and expenditures and our set-asides will be there for you to look at. If you have any questions, please reach out to Sheena and I. Pending any questions, that's all I have.
Any questions from the committee?
On the expense side where we're under, is that because we're underspending what we anticipated that we were going to spend, or are we underspending because we just have something deferred that we thought we were going to spend?
Come on up, Sheena.
Sheena is on her way up to answer you.
It's a good question.
Hi, Sheena.
Hello. Basically, it's because everybody's just been working hard and not spending as much as on some of our projects as we had thought we would at this point. I think more of them will be coming in as the summer ends up, but we're still looking to stay right on budget, even with those projects.
So the expectation is that you don't continue to underrun at that rate, but you expect to be on budget on the expense side?
Correct.
Thank you.
And please keep in mind what Sheena does on the budget is she looks at the last couple of years where we were, and she takes an average of that and then comes up with her overall budget and where she thinks we're going to be during the year. And because Dewey doesn't have any real property tax, it is really a guessing game on parking, transfer tax, business licenses, all the different revenues that come in. So it's really looking at the last couple of years and trying to come up with a good number.
Yeah, and for those that haven't been on the budget side of the committee here, our fiscal year starts in April. And, our guests start showing up here in April, May, and June. So to be ahead at this early stage of the game is really good. Because all your transfer tax, typically, people don't sell their houses in May, June, July, and August. They wait till September, October, November, and first of the year. So that's where a bulk of those revenues come in at. So, it's an unpredictable revenue stream. In past years, we know transfer tax, there's roughly 50 houses that get sold a year in Dewey Beach. Years ago, houses cost $500,000, now they're $1 million. So likely say, we should be doubling our transfer tax, but we're in a tough cycle here now where interest rates are high and transactions are still happening. They're happening at a higher dollar amount. We'll probably sell less than 50, but that's one of these things that typically works its way out. There's highs and lows in all systems like that. So when we look at that, we budgeted 500,000, and we did that previous year as well, anticipating, and we came in over. So we did the same thing this year. We said, well, it's probably not going to be any better. Let's keep our fingers crossed and let's get it. So to be that 160,000 ahead of that number right now is very encouraging.
I'll just make one quick comment, and that is the fact that I want to thank Sheena Hall because the status of how the budget's being prepared, the level of detail, amount of work that's gone into it is showing in terms of how well we are doing the budget and really thinking about what our risk points are, like you bring up, Paul. So I appreciate it. Any other comments concerning the financial needs and budgets? Just please speak up if you do. All right. With that, let's move on to number 4, presentation discussion by Dominic DeFibo regarding Brown Advisory portfolio. Dominic?
Great. Thank you all. Good evening. I will go ahead and start and share my screen, and we'll walk through the portfolios and give you a little bit of insight into kind of what's going on in the markets and driving performance. One second. Great. Let me know. Okay, looks like it's sharing now.
Yep.
Great. So I'll provide a little context, as I think it is kind of new to me that these committees came together. So I think it's important that we maybe take one step back, and folks that are new to this discussion can gain some context here. So in what is under our management at Brown Advisory, we are managing kind of 3 different pools of capital. So we have what you see this first, we have the general fund. So part of the general fund for the town, which is kind of a short duration type of cash, fixed income type of mandate. Next, we have the beach replenishment, and then we have a short-term beach replenishment fund, and then a longer-term beach replenishment fund. So the short-term being similar. I'm sorry?
I can't see the numbers up there very well.
Oh, sorry. I was just more kind of talking to that, I'll get to the numbers in a second. I'm just really trying to create some context around the three different pools of capital that we're managing, just for the new folks in the room. So we have the general fund, we have the short beach replenishment, and then we have the long-term beach replenishment. The IPS for the short-term funds are the same, and then the long-term has a slightly different mandate where we have some equity exposure in that portfolio, where the short-term funds only have kind of cash and cash-like instruments in them. So kind of going through in total at the end of June, total across all accounts was just over $7 million. Looking at kind of the long-term fund first, or long-term pool of capital, top right on this page is essentially the target asset allocation that we have part of the IPS. So essentially a 75% kind of cash fixed income weighting and 25% equity weighting. So very conservative asset allocation. Obviously, this is long-term kind of preservation of capital and incremental growth. And so, we've done that over time and built out this allocation. The top left is kind of the performance since inception. So just as a refresher, we've been working together since 2015. And since inception, the portfolio has grown at 3.6% per year, kind of net of all fees, against the blended benchmark that's up 3.4% over that same period of time. Year to date, portfolio is up 3.4%. And quarter to date up just under 1%. And again, blended benchmark underneath all of those numbers. Again, we show kind of gross and net of all fees in these numbers. So try to be as transparent as possible in those numbers. This chart down in the bottom left corner is essentially just the dollar amounts of all of that. So kind of inception, kind of beginning market value, kind of any kind of contributions and withdrawals since inception, and then the market value gain and income. So collectively up, about 1.5 million over that period of time in the long portfolio. This chart on the right, essentially the green is if you just did nothing and didn't invest it and just kind of put in and taken it out as if you're putting it under the mattress. And then that blue line is the market gain of that money being invested. Also, what we always do is we always show manager performance, the underlying holdings of the portfolio and how those investments have performed. So not just kind of at an aggregate level, we always look at things on a individual asset level, and then those relative to their individual benchmarks as well. So again, we want to make sure not only are we performing at the aggregate level and outperforming, but we also want to look at things on a manager level, especially when we're looking at kind of fixed income and equity managers. Certainly managing to the individual benchmarks is certainly important, as is asset allocation, certainly. So we have a fairly concentrated portfolio. The Voya Bond Fund, which is a relatively new, but coming up on a year's track record, performing quite well, both on an absolute and relative basis, which is almost 70% of the portfolio. Flex equity portfolio is is 35 stock portfolio benchmarked against the S&P 500, or really just a core large cap equity portfolio, and has outperformed since inception, kind of beating the S&P 500 by roughly 800 basis points per year. Small caps, although small caps have been out of favor, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Small cap allocation thus far has outperformed its relative benchmark. We then have kind of two international managers. One is a global manager, so US, about 50% US stocks, kind of 50% ex-US stocks, and then an emerging market manager, which within this fund we have a growth manager and a value manager that, as you can see, has performed quite well on a relative basis, up 7% annualized. Compared to 4.3% from the benchmark. So again, we like to look at those because we want to make sure that the underlying managers are also performing well. So that's kind of the overall long portfolio. So and the performance of that. A couple things to note, and I'll start with the beach replenishment fund. There was a lot of discussion in the last meeting around around the general fund and kind of its investment in fixed income and whether or not we should be doing that or not doing that. Kind of after that meeting, really in an effort to kind of ensure that things were in line with kind of the expectation of the commissioners. We went ahead and kind of just reallocated that fixed income, which had a gain at the time, and reallocated that into kind of 3-month T-bills. So we kind of now are managing it kind of in a money market and 3-month T-bills in that portfolio, which I think was prudent to do. Certainly, I think we see interest rates, certainly more likely coming down than going up in the near future, which would be beneficial to fixed income. But until we get kind of clarity from the commissioners on the general fund, we just thought kind of prudent to just stay in those short-term instruments until we get greater clarity there. And then kind of on the short beach replenishment fund, we've maintained our position to kind of 60% kind of core fixed income, and then 40% in money market, which I think overall has done pretty well. I mean, certainly money market getting 5.2%, we're getting a bit better yield in bonds, and as rates come down, as interest rates do come down, which we expect they will over time, that will certainly be beneficial to the kind of total return of that bond fund in excess of where we are in the money market. So I think we feel good positioning there within the short beach replenishment fund. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to go into a bit of an overview of kind of where things are in the market, but I want to just give an opportunity if anyone has any questions regarding performance, regarding kind of asset allocation or anything of that nature. I'll open up for questions, and then I'll get into the rest of the presentation.
Council or committee, excuse me.
One quick question.
Sure.
The move to T-bills from fixed income, what's the impact on the returns for the money that's allocated there that you anticipate over the next 12 months? And it may be positive or negative. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall positive. I don't see any meaningful move in rates, and so I think we'll have to, if we do get a move in rates, certainly, that's why we kind of kept things short in kind of the 3-month band, and so that as those roll off kind of in a 3-month increment, we can kind of reassess and see where we want to kind of put that money. Right now, certainly performance has not been all that different. I mean, bonds have been. Rates have kind of been up and down, and so kind of duration has worked for us and against us at times over the past 6 months. Certainly, we are certainly extending duration a bit here with certainly news from the Fed earlier this week, and the market right now is pricing in kind of 1 to 2 rate cuts before the end of the year, given kind of the reduction in kind of month over month and year over year inflation numbers. We do expect the Fed to move at some point this year. Again, I don't think it's going to be meaningful, but I think that's why we kind of are keeping things short in duration. And if we do see a meaningful shift, then we do have the leeway to kind of add to core bonds in that portfolio to get a greater rate of return. But there was just a lot of pushback from the commissioners in the last meeting, and there was just a lot of uncomfort in owning bonds at this point in time, and so we kind of made that shift. But certainly, we'll want to be longer duration bonds if the Fed does pivot and start to cut rates.
Thanks, Dominic.
Sure.
Any other questions for Dominic?
Okay.
All right. Dominic, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do it. Do you want me? I was gonna give a little bit more color on the market, but and just kind of, I'll spend another five minutes. We'll keep it brief.
You got it.
All right, cool. So a couple things to just kind of bring some light, and a lot of this is probably not new to everyone here, but I think it is important to just understand the backdrop in which we're investing in today, and how that has kind of really changed over time. I think really this page in particular is kind of front and center in the discussion, right? So if you look at kind of the S&P 500, which is kind of obviously the main index that U.S. investors, global investors look at as a benchmark for kind of the U.S. stock market, and of the top 10 companies, which are over here on the left-hand side, 10 years ago, those top 10 companies represented 17% of the index. Today, that they represent 37% of the index. So this narrowing of the market that we've seen over the last really 18 to 24 months has become pretty extreme. And actually, it's actually at the narrowest point that it has been since the late 90s. Now, I think by all accounts, the late 90s and the early days of the internet and the internet bubble were much different times. If you look at the companies on the left-hand side, I mean, these are really high quality, well-run, fundamentally strong businesses, right? So different for sure. But not to say that, you know, if we look at kind of what they are driving in the market, it's significant. The S&P 500 is a market cap weighted index. And so these 7 companies represented 65% of the S&P 500 returns so far this year. And so if you stripped out those companies, the S&P 500 is only up 5.3%. I mean, it's a staggering number when you think about it. And so, you know, obviously we own a majority of these companies in the flex equity strategy and in the global leader strategy. And so we're able to kind of keep up with the market, but it's been a really hard market to keep up with. And so certainly something that we're keeping an eye on, and certainly if we see kind of a reduction in interest rates, we're likely to see other parts of the market start to catch up. And if you look at kind of valuations and where valuations are on a historical basis over the last 20 years, that those companies all being kind of large cap growth companies are kind of at the 94th percentile from a valuation standpoint compared to where large cap growth companies have been in the last 20 years, relative to, say, small cap companies, which are more cyclical, more capital intensive most times, and a bit more correlated to interest rate hikes. And so over the last 3 years, certainly small caps have really drastically underperformed large cap, and are actually negative over a trailing 3-year period. And so we see certainly opportunities here in small caps today. You know, just today in the market, small cap indexes were up over 3%, and S&P was down. So I mean, that kind of shows you a little bit, and that's just off of some Fed talk on and the fact that inflation has come down to the lowest point it has been, you know, in 2.5 years. So that's just kind of a signal that there could be kind of a mean reversion here for small caps, and people start to take profits within large cap. And so again, it's why we have a diversified portfolio, right? We're not trying to just own one part of the market. We want to own a diversified portfolio that has different levers as the markets change. And I think we have that in the portfolio for Dewey. For sure. But again, these are opportunities, and we might take on the margin, a incremental kind of increase to the small cap allocation, kind of given this backdrop. But we're I think it's still a little early to the game within the small cap space and allocating kind of significantly more dollars. But it is something that we are looking at very closely. On the large cap side, I think it's just important to see, I mean, back to that discussion around kind of the market cap weighted index. There's also an equal weighted index that we look at. And this chart on the right kind of shows that the equal weight index has outperformed the market cap weighted index really since 2004, up until really this period of time now, where now the market cap weight index is significantly outperforming. And so what that's saying is that, yes, there are very few companies that are driving the performance, and it's been a very narrow market up, and it really hasn't, the rest of the companies have not really seen that same type of market action, for lack of a better term there. And so when we start to see a more broadened out market, certainly a much healthier market, much better market for stock picking. And we think that, setting up for some of that, more than likely here, in the near future. Again, this is just a little bit more of the dynamics at play within kind of the shift kind of within the AI space. And that's really what's been leading a lot of these companies higher. And we'll get a lot more information as earnings come out on these companies. But certainly it used to be kind of the days of software, right? Asset light businesses, generating a lot of cash flow, really just high quality businesses that were gaining a lot of investment over the last kind of 10 to 15 years. And really, there's just been this drastic shift in the past year from those software companies more to the hardware and semiconductor space, as the move to the AI models comes a need for more data centers. More data centers means more chips, more energy, more infrastructure. And so that's where a lot of the investment has gone to. And again, we have exposure to these companies in the portfolio, but again, that's just what's really been driving this market so far this year. I will say that's probably all we'll kind of go through. I think that there's a lot of other slides in here, and I think everyone has received this slide. But I think as it pertains to the portfolio for Dewey Beach, I think that we can stop there unless anyone has any questions regarding the market or kind of drivers.
I wanted him to go through the whole report. I'm good. I'm not on the committee.
Committee members, any questions for Dominic? Nope.
Okay.
Dominic, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
With that, we'll move on to number 5. Any committee member comments? Manny?
You know what? I'm sorry. There was a couple of questions in the chat, and I just wanted to make sure that I addressed them. The TBO fixed income was impact returns. Okay, that was asked. And then no. So as a tax exempt entity, that you're not paying taxes on the income. So that is true. But yeah, that I think that was the other question, just around tax on the income from fixed income.
Thank you.
So, yep, no problem. All right, thank you all. Have a great day.
Thanks, Dominic. Different than what I normally do at council meetings, I'll ask if there are any committee members that would like to make additional comments concerning the Finance Committee. Yeah? Anyone online? All right, not hearing any. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Done.
That was it. It's gonna be longer than that.